guys ready?
Okay, who has it up?
I can't.
Okay, so. Now, can you hear me on your computer?
Testing.
Oh, no, it doesn't sound very different.
I'm just froze.
It's just as mute.
Yeah, you're muted.
Oh, not
I see the mute.
now.
They're good. Maybe there's a
It's
delay.
a delay. Okay, we're good to go.
Just froze.
All right, that was a little difficult.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's when I was muted. It's a delay. It's like a 20-second delay.
Yeah, now it's in.
Sit anywhere? Right there is perfect. These, okay. These are the hot seats.
So, be advised that we are live streaming our meeting this evening, afternoon, and into the evening and into the night. So this evening, we'll have approximately 30 minutes for your presentations. I will set a timer for 25 minutes, so if that goes off, we get to wrap things up, because the other folks behind you won't be too happy if we don't. Please identify yourselves and your projects that you are looking for support of at the beginning of your presentation for those at home listening. So whenever you're ready, I'll get started.
I think we'll pass out some emails first.
Yeah, do you want to go through introductions and kick those off?
Sounds good. My name is Jacob Hoffman. I'm with HRG. I'm the township engineer.
I'm Julie Sees. I'm with Middle Paxton Township, the township manager.
Lauren Zuffren, HRG, I manage our capital solutions group. Julie can review the projects. We had a couple of things we wanted to hand out. We provided copies of the answers to the questions in the email, but we had a few other items that did not make it to your digital hands yet, but we will follow up with an email. Thank you. Can you bring the extras back? I'll get this side if you want. Okay. Thanks.
So which one are we starting with?
We'll go right in order with order of priority. So we'll go Red Hill Road first.
Yes, we have 3 projects. We have 3 applications. 2 are debt service, the Red Hill Road project that has been completed, and that DCIB loan, and then we have the DCIB G loan, which was for the Potato Valley Road stream realignment and road improvements. And then the 3rd application is for engineering and architectural consulting for a new public works building.
So we'll start off kind of going over the Red Hill Road project. So Red Hill Road is just a little bit down the road from the township building. It was constructed originally in about 1919, so it was a little over 100 years old. The township applied for a DCIB loan through the county, and they were graciously awarded that. As of since, the project has been completed. It was completed September of this year. It's been a very good project. It's about exactly what we expected it to look like. It's a complete bridge replacement to a box culvert. So it was historically a very short, narrow bridge, and now it's a box culvert. It's been widened so that in the future, if there is ever a need for a bike lane or pedestrian access, they can continue it through the bridge without having to come back through and replace the box culvert for that. They have requested for debt service relief for this, which has been requested for, I believe, 2 years now in a row. So this will be the third year coming in. I believe next year is the last year for the loan. So they only have one more year going before this with the same debt service release, and then it should be completely paid off, if I'm correct, for the DCIB.
Correct. January 2026 is scheduled to be paid off. The DCIB.
So we're getting there with that one.
So, I guess one of my questions would be for that is, how has the infrastructure bank worked out for you? Was that a good deal? I mean, if you weren't able to access that, what would that do to this type of project?
It has significantly helped the township with the lower interest rate especially. And the process was a good process, a fast and easy process, but it significantly helped the township, I believe, with projects that we would not be able to do or afford without the DCIB.
Yeah, it definitely is very helpful for some of these critical projects, like a very old, culvert that needs replaced, or some of these failing infrastructures that are very pricey to replace. It really allows them to actually get the project in and allows them plenty of time to get it paid off.
Any other questions with regards to this one?
No,
Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think you covered it.
All right.
That's Potato Valley.
Yep, we'll move on to the next one, which is Potato Valley Road. This is kind of a three-part project. Phase one is the Potato Valley Road bridge, which was replaced, I think 2021, around there.
correct.
It was replaced. That was an old project. Now we're moving on to phase two, which is kind of two separate parts. One part is in the middle of Potato Valley Road. There is a existing stream that essentially flows right along the edge of the road. Base flow of the stream is at the edge of the road, so you'll actually see it flowing along the roadway. Part of the project would be relocating the stream away from the road, kind of armoring the bank so that it doesn't keep on migrating back towards the roadway, and then upsizing or replacing the culvert downstream from that. That project is actually partially funded through a TSIP program, which is another county project. I believe that was the 2023 TSIP grant award. So that project right now is, getting through preliminary design. We actually just got authorization from the board at the beginning of this week that it's good to get it submitted to DEP, get that permit going. So that project is moving well along. The second part is the improvements to the Potato Valley Road itself. It is definitely, had its wear and tear on the road. There's a couple of cross pipes that need replaced, and definitely a lot of rehabilitation for the roadway. So the second part of that project is actually going to be coming back through and then fixing up the roadway itself. So then the request is again for a debt service for that, for a DCIBG loan.
Any questions?
I do know.
What was the amount on that one?
The requested amount, I believe 40,000, they requested for that.
Very much.
That permit application should be submitted in the next couple days, right?
Yep. We got the signature page over to the township, so once we get everything submitted, it's gonna get shipped off over to DEP.
that would be a nice project when it's completed, because that stream overflows at times and cause issues with travel and buses and so that would be a nice project. And then once the streams realign, then the road itself is going to be improved with, we're still debating whether we're going to do chip and seal, try to keep the cost low, or how we're going to treat that. But once it's all completed, it's going to be a nice couple mile stretch of better and safer highway.
Yeah, I'll actually be out there this coming up Tuesday to visit with one of our pavement management people to kind of go through and analyze the roadway, see, what our potential options are as far as, what can we do to restore the road or fix it up and get the best life we can for the best dollar we can.
Go on to the next one.
All right, so then the third and the last application is a new project coming in. It is their Public Works building, which is in the parcel directly next to the Township Municipal building. It was, from what we can see, it's been there since before the 50s. We don't exactly have a date on when it was constructed, but it is definitely a very old project. So now that, their DCIB loan for the Red Hill Road is kind of coming to a close, the next step is really to start looking to the future. There's plenty of development that's starting to get their eyes on middle packs, and so as part of that, they'll definitely need to make sure that they have the crew, the facility to continue to maintain the infrastructure for any roads that are dedicated in the future. And so the Public Works building is very old and is definitely in need of some improvements. So right now, the request is $250,000, and it is some soft costs, so strictly for engineering, site design, architectural, geotechnical engineering, essentially getting it to a point where it's ready to go up and get constructed out the bid is essentially the request. The township is looking for construction funding as of this point. Right now, we estimate that total construction cost itself would be in the range of about $2.4 million on top of about $250,000 for engineering, architectural, and all of that stuff. But again, that's, we don't have an architectural design, so that number is a very preliminary budgetary thought onto that. Right now, we do have an application in for $1 million for some of the preliminary construction part, specifically site work, getting kind of the whole layout done minus the actual building itself for the statewide local share application.
I think with this one, some of the issues that we see with the current structure can't be understated. The bay doors are undersized, so they routinely have trucks coming in that, it's very tight fit, it's causing damage to the vehicles, damage to the buildings, and just really, kind of cutting away from your budget. In addition to that, the restroom is not accessible. They don't have gender-specific changing areas or adequate break room facilities. So it's more than just how do we house equipment based on current size standards, but it's sort of the overall inclusivity angle as well. With this project, recognizing that it is a very large project, we looked at where do we start, right? And recognizing that pre-construction is really the first step. This is essentially, okay, let's help us get it off the ground. And, in part, to Jacob's point, our estimated construction value at this point is, very conceptual, but kind of going through that process, having the township engage an architect, get a better understanding of what they're looking at, to advance it into the future for construction. We're looking at some other funding sources that could help to fill that construction gap. We do have one application in currently, which Jacob referenced, but are looking into other programs, and I think the township, if they're not able to get it entirely, they're not funding, may look to financing portion of the improvements as well.
Right now, the old township meeting room is where they have their lunchroom and their lockers. And if they have to change out of clothing, they have to change in the open meeting room. Because the bathroom, it's so tight that there's no room for a gentleman to try to change out of clothing. So trying to make it more appropriate and being the township's very large land-wise, 60 square miles, they have a lot of roads to travel. And we know we're gonna need some new equipment, and we're just out of room at this point.
So, HRG people. In this application that you put through, you have an itemization of 250,000.
Correct.
Does HRG do all of that?
The architectural,
So we reached out to a couple of sub-consultants to kind of get approximate fees from their stuff. So geotechnical is something that HRD is not an expert on or anything like that. So that would definitely be something that would go to another firm, another engineering firm. Architectural is also another thing. The township has historically worked with Jim Crum on a lot of their buildings. The main township building was done by him. So we requested a quote from him for that.
Try to have the buildings somehow match,
Sure.
be similar to each other, so.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. So the project, excluding this, is about 2.5 million, 2.4 million, somewhere around there.
For total construction is what we're looking at, yes.
Will any of the employees do this work? Or will
No.
that be outsourced too?
No, it'll be all prime contractors.
So an additional 10% is this pre-work that I call it, and I'm not criticizing HRG or engineering in general, please know that. But is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay.
and I think it's fair to say that construction cost opinion could change as designs
That's
are.
my fear.
Yeah, and depending on how, how the selected firm works with the township to better understand your needs now and into the future, how you're planning, what is critical to have in that facility. There's a lot that goes into it. So, again, we're very conceptual at this point, but hoping to start somewhere.
Yeah, the big unknown cost really comes from the building. It's really gonna have to go through a lot of iterations between the architect and the township and making sure that, the public works gets what they need, what they envision in the next, 50 years that the township could look like and what the needs would be at that time and really make sure that they get a building that is set to, work for the next 50 years at least.
Okay, so one of the things is wetland survey, and it's minor, it's $2,000. Is it being built on a wetland?
No. It's almost entirely completely built out. I would have a very low possibility of there being a wetland, but just as part of due diligence, you need to make sure that none of the grasses are wetlands so you don't impact them, but I don't envision any of that actually being wetlands.
And then for my last question, I've had projects like this, and it's all planned for weather as it is now. So the 50 and 100-year storm are now happening every 7 and 10 years. Will that, if you believe that, will that impact how you will build things, or will you go with what's happening now?
So typically for that, it would end up just getting designed to the most current NPDES requirements, since it would be over an acre of disturbance. The new NPDES permit did just kind of come live, so there is a little bit more stricter requirements than what has historically been done in Pennsylvania for the past 10 or so years. So it would be moving towards that, but it would be more of just meeting whatever the general permit requirements would be for that as far as stormwater management, storm sewer piping, things like that.
I get that. I wish it was different, but you do with what the rules are now, I get it. Okay.
So do you feel like you have to add more stormwater management on the site? Permanent stormwater management, not construction.
Most likely, we would want to at least add some permanent stormwater management for it. Again, the
But you're
site is,
not, this is the building, right?
yeah,
Are you looking at that same sort of location, demoing this?
that's going to depend on really the site
Yeah,
design, that the
yeah.
site, they will definitely get demoed, but
I mean, it looks like
exactly
you
where
have a
it's going
lot
to be.
of, impervious already there. Like you're not increasing impervious, even if you expanded that floor plan, you could add a bunch of more bays on this thing and you're still just going right over all that asphalt.
Right.
Correct.
Looks like you got a little bit of grass behind it or something, so.
Yeah, around the edges there
You
is
could
some grass, so it
avoid-
depends
you could
what
avoid
ends up getting
stormwater Potentially,
potentially.
or significant stormwater costs if you're just, utilizing your already developed area.
Making use of the impervious area that's there.
Yeah.
Do you think the trucks will be able to drive through on the new building, or will it always be full in, full out?
Not quite sure of what the design will be, but
Okay.
if the architect and the board of supervisors feel that's a good option, sure we'll look at that.
Yeah, I think we'll look at, obviously if there's known areas of concern for stormwater, what your needs are, how, they can best function and do their jobs, all of those considerations and the ultimate design.
The site itself is going to be a little, I can say, not going to be difficult, but,
I think it will be, you can
yeah,
use the word
it's
difficult.
a site that, it's the only site we have, it is now, so we'll have to tear it down, we'll have to do something temporary, but, so I know that there is going to be, some challenges to this, but knowing the needs that we're going to have and some new developments coming in this year and maybe next couple years, multifamily coming into our township for the first time, we have to be prepared.
All right, thank you.
I mean, I'm curious to circle back to Matt's, because you already have impervious surface, but if you're tearing down and building new, once you have to comply with current requirements, and you will probably hit a premium on that stormwater management. It would be different if you were remodeling or adding.
Yeah, they hit you for.
Even if you're not adding any additional, you automatically trigger it.
It's new.
Not always, in a lot of cases it does, the second you start just replacing the whole site, typically they take a percentage of the impervious.
I said these municipal requirements are terrible. You need to change your code real fast.
Yes.
I know, it's DEP triggered too.
And,
So if you kept it the same footprint, you'd still trigger.
If we went the NPDS route, most likely, yes, we would still trigger some level of stormwater management. If we were just legit demoing the existing building and replacing it with something, we most likely wouldn't have to do additional stormwater management, but we'd be looking at completely, reconfiguring the site. Right now, if you look at the road, it's kind of a loop road that goes the whole way around the site. So there's essentially like road access the whole way along with it. So the whole site would end up getting relaid out. So there's dedicated entrances, exits, oriented a lot better.
it might have to be a two-story building where your office and, something to be on the second story.
Yeah. Right.
Leave it up to you.
We're kind of tight where we're at, so.
How many acres do you have there? Or what's your whole site there?
Oh, this portion?
Yeah, I think it's about a little over 2 acres. I think
About
is
2 acres.
is
So you don't have a lot of space.
It's not a lot, and there's other buildings and other uses for it. They do use it to also store salt and
Yeah,
other
salt sheds off to the side.
stone and all
You
that stuff.
barely put a sheets on that.
Yeah,
Wawa these days. Wawa.
Right, Wawa.
I love Wawa.
Any other questions? So that's, best of luck to you guys.
thank you so
Thank
much, appreciate it,
Thank you guys.
appreciate the opportunity.
It's nice to get a new facility.
And you said that was built in the 50s, right?
Yeah, so from what we can see is that there were meeting minutes from the township meeting, whenever it was there, somewhere in the 40s. So somewhere around that time, just a little bit before the 50s, but we don't know exactly.
That's pretty massive. I mean, if you think that,
It was huge then.
look at the different size of vehicles.
Yes, that's the problem, that they,
Come up through.
the vehicles grew, but the doors don't, so
Yeah,
So we,
they get hit,
necessarily up.
they get hit with the headers, and the frames have been replaced so many times, even the doors, they're back out and hit the doors.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That stays there, right? Thank you.
There's a line there. As you see a residential, they're not adding. done. Knocked down. They keep that safe. So, new construction, yeah. Adding more improvements.
Well, that's why I thought the adding new areas was the line.
Was the lot, was the trigger?
Maybe mine.
Yeah, that once you add it.
Right here.
Hello,
Okay.
right there is good.
Okay, thank you.
Dauphin Borough.
Okay, gotcha. Hi, hey,
Good, how are you?
good, thank you.
Uh-oh.
There's a clicker in front of you that works your PowerPoint. Down is the button that you want to push to move to the next one.
Great, thank you.
And this evening, you guys have, or this afternoon, you have approximately 30 minutes for your presentation. I will set a timer for 25 minutes, so if that goes off, then we gotta wrap things up.
Can't imagine that would be a problem.
It's nice to hear. This is being live streamed, so please project with your voice, speak loudly, announce or identify yourselves and the party that you represent and what your project is, so that folks viewing remotely understand what you're doing. So whenever you're ready, take her away.
Okay, all right. I am Cindy Long. I'm the treasurer for the Dauphin Borough. This is Brian Cuddy. He is our Borough Council President. We are here today for an application for a new community building in Dauphin. The Borough of Dauphin, down arrow?
Yeah, or maybe try the up one, depending on which
Way you're holding it.
way you're holding it. I can move it as well. It might not, oh, is it on?
No, it's not.
There we go.
That helps.
There we go.
All right, thank you. It was turned off. Okay, so the Borough of Dauphin is seeking a grant in the amount of $150,000 towards construction, development, and site work for a new community building that we're planning. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the scenario, but on October 17th, 2021, a devastating fire engulfed the Dauphin Middle Paxton Historical Society building, shown in the picture there. It caused a total loss of the building. The building was a historical monument of the town and a pillar in the community for various events such as our Heritage Day, the Dauphin Middle Paxton Lions Club Carnival, the Borough Anniversary, the Children's Christmas Breakfast, and our Halloween Parade. The requested grant amount would aid the borough in the costs with the construction, development, and site work to prepare the exterior and land for a new building. We did hold insurance on the previous building, the Borough of Dauphin did. However, without a contract in place to rehabilitate or reconstruct within 180 days of the loss, the insurance company only released sufficient funds for the initial securing and demolition of the dilapidated building. Borough Council, along with the solicitor, have been working with the insurance company, who's agreed to keep the claim open pending the active planning to reconstruct and a contract actually in place for the new building. The community organizations that were displaced by the loss of the building were the Dauphin Middle Paxton Historical Society, the Middle Paxton Lions Club, and the Dauphin Middle Paxton Girl Scouts. These organizations use the building for meetings, storage space, and special events, and the Dauphin Middle Paxton Historical Society had a museum in the building displaying many artifacts of the history of our community. Members of the community have expressed desire to rebuild and establish a location that would be functional for both Dauphin Borough and Middle Paxton Township staff and community use, providing amenities that may not already be available within the communities. Our project budget, we are working in phases on this project. Phase 1 consisted of the initial securing and demolition of the dilapidated building. Phase 1 is complete and paid in full with the insurance proceeds and funds from the general fund of the borough. Phase 2 consisted of the design development phase. To date, Phase 2 costs have been covered fully by the 2022-23 local share municipal grant that we received. However, the borough is prepared to use funds from the general fund for anything exceeding that awarded grant amount. Phase 3 of this project, which we're here for, is the construction, development, and site work phase. The funding for Phase 3 will consist of additional insurance proceeds, fundraising efforts, donations, grant applications, and bank financing as needed. The Phase 3 estimate, as shown on the screen, I know it's a little small, I apologize, was provided from our engineer.
That's gonna include costs for stormwater management, paving, signage and marking, landscaping, exterior lighting and utility, and things of the need for the exterior prep. The vision for the new community building includes opportunities of promoting unity within the community, providing volunteer opportunities, and offering support for community projects. Borough Council is taking into consideration the offer of educational opportunities, senior citizen opportunities, additional residential and business opportunities, and positively impacting the lives of young people. The planning and total use of the new building is focused on the displaced organizations, the needs and wants of the community, and the need for upkeep of the new building, and the potential of the borough offices moving into the new facility. So the projected outcome of the new community building includes, like I said, space for the Middle Paxton Lions Club. So there's going to be office and meeting space, event space, storage space, also event space, meeting space, and storage space for the Girl Scouts. And community members. There's going to be a multi-purpose room for events and large group meetings. And we do have office spaces set up to potentially use for our borough staff and equipment storage.
When you say meeting space, will it be shared? So will the Girl Scouts meeting space be the Lions Club meeting space?
Well, we do, and I apologize because this is a very small picture. We do have the large event space in the middle. There is also a smaller meeting. I have one copy, I believe. There is a smaller conference room. This has a pointer on it, like down in the front here. And maybe you can speak more to the design for me.
Yeah, those would be smaller offices of sorts for those smaller organizations for them to keep their materials. But also there is some adequate meeting space in a few of those.
They
If they had
can be
smaller
shared.
gatherings.
Shared, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's not a designated Girl Scout room.
There is actually.
Oh, there is.
For
Okay.
storage, but I don't know that it's
Not for
for
meeting.
meeting.
Yeah, what, we're not certain of what their.
You probably don't need a designated one, I was just wondering.
Yeah.
No, there would be a designated room for each of the entities that was displaced by the fire.
Okay.
Not necessarily large enough for them to have large gatherings,
All right, thank you.
but certainly dedicated space.
We would like to thank the Dauphin County Gaming Advisory Board for consideration in this grant, and additionally, the awarded amounts that have helped service our small community previously, including our parks project, our debt reduction project, and our previous community building project to allow us to get through the design and development phase. With that being said, do you have other questions? Yes, sir.
Pretty straightforward.
I just had a question about the timeline.
Mhm.
So when are you guys expecting to go out to bid?
Well, we kind of a few things in place that are kind of hampering that answer. We have insurance proceeds due us in the amount of a little over $400,000. We're trying to represent to our insurance carrier that we have every intention of rebuilding. It was a functional capacity replacement policy, I believe. And so they will not reimburse us or pay us for the loss until we are evidencing to them that we have every intention of rebuilding.
Right.
So we're trying to do that, but until we're under contract, I don't think we can get those monies. So we also tried for a large RCAP grant last year, which we didn't get. So not knowing exactly where we are with funding is holding that down. But I think when we have some additional information as to the final site planning, we will likely be in a position to get it out to bid. We were hoping to have our funding in place before we did that, because we understand contractors are much more anxious to bid on something that actually has money behind it. So there's a couple moving parts to that, but I would be very hopeful towards the end of 2025 we could do that.
Okay. And so with the $150,000 from the local share grant, would that be the trigger that would allow you for the project to be fully funded and you could go to bid, or is there something?
It would allow for all of to put it on paper in completion, yes.
Okay.
And I think to get it to a position that we could put it in front of a contractor, yeah, I believe that's that's, the answer to that is yes.
That's all.
So will there be a shortfall? Or you need additional monies? Let's say by chance you got the full request from here.
Mhm.
Would you need additional monies? Will you be falling short? Or will the insurance be enough to cover?
I think our request today would certainly cover all of our site planning numbers that Cindy put out in front of you, or at least a large majority of them, along with existing proceeds that the borough has. We are fully dependent on, in large part, the RCAP grant that we are seeking for construction of the building itself.
Which I think in your question said that you did not receive.
We did not receive, that's correct.
So you've gotten 60,000 in insurance, and there's a chance you could get up to 500 more?
Yeah, somewhere a little over
Oh, you
400
do?
more. Yeah, I think the total coverage on the building was just over 500,000.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you will have a shortfall, no doubt.
Oh, yes, we'll definitely have a shortfall with respect to the rebuild, yeah.
Just trying to understand
Sure,
what lies ahead.
yeah, so are we. It's, like, things that you don't really ever intend to have to work through is the loss of a building that served as kind of the heart of our community, and trying to replace that has certainly been a challenge.
Yeah, it's kind of like having that car that gets in that accident.
Yeah, right.
It's never equal.
The whole actual cash value
Really
thing.
devalues that to
Right.
the point it's tremendous.
We had always been told that we could never afford replacement cost value insurance on that building because it was a completely brick building built in the 1800s, I believe, and the cost to rebuild as it stood would have been,
Yeah.
just crazy amounts of money. That didn't make sense for us to insure. So we thought we had enough money on the building. What it was intended for was, functional replacement cost, but even that it is going to be quite a shortfall.
Yeah.
So we're definitely have every intent of putting the RCAP grant back together this coming year. We're hoping that although we felt we had adequate political support for that, I think in learning a little bit after the fact, we need to do a little better job with that. But I do think everyone has told us we have a very compelling story. Not that, any of us wish that this is where we are, but it is a story and it has been a devastating loss for our town.
Yeah. Insurance, it's tough stuff, man, to understand, and you can't really plan directly for it.
Yeah, and with the revolving council, it's hard to really have a full understanding and appreciation for every aspect of what's in place. Unfortunately, we learned the hard way on this one. I think we wish we would have had a little more coverage in place for that building, or did it in a different manner.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you much.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. How many of those recorders do you go through over time?
We've had this for years.
That's what I was wondering, because it looked familiar.
Yeah, we've had it for years.
That's amazing. Afternoon.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
How you doing? Hi. How are you, Betsy? Oh, good.
Good. So this is our first year of live streaming, fellas, so please identify yourselves and who you represent. Speak clearly and loudly as possible for the folks that are,
And where is the camera? Just so.
the owl looking type of thing there.
Thanks.
Oh, OWL.
Would you mind
I thought you
distributing
guys
that?
have been saying AL, and I'm like, what does AL stand for? But it's AL. Okay.
This is only
the third-
better if you said owl, H-A-L. What was that? You went to play a game.
It's only the third day I'm sitting here. Okay. You were referring to it as AL, and I'm like.
You gentlemen have roughly 30 minutes
Once
for
I
your
was shy of
presentation.
doing
I'll set a timer for 25, so if that goes off, we'll wrap things up so that the folks behind you. I think that hits all that points there.
Okay,
Whenever you're ready.
thank
How's
you.
East Hanover?
Yeah, so we are representing East Hanover Township. I'm Nick Yingst. I'm the township manager, and I'm joined by.
Brian Ziegler, I'm the Public Works Director for the township.
So at the outset, thank you all for the opportunity to present to you today. And thank you for our long history of cooperation, both with the Gaming Advisory Board and with the county as a whole. We have been able to undertake a lot of important projects over the years. Because of your support, we're a mostly rural and residential municipality with 6,000 people. But with your assistance, we've been able to do significant infrastructure improvement projects to help preserve and expand public safety and to improve parks, recreation, and culture for the folks of our municipality. And incidentally, I'm going to be touching on all three of those categories here momentarily. But at the outset, just want to thank you for your help over the years. We couldn't have done it without you. So with that said, let's talk about our specific requests this year. We have three of them. The first is requesting $500,000 for our annual road maintenance and repair program. Secondly, a little bit under $100,000 for our annual lease payment for replacing the rescue pumper for our volunteer fire company. And then finally, $250,000 to go towards renovation for our township building, kitchen, and bathrooms. So the total amount we're requesting across these three projects is just under $850,000. I recognize that's a lot of money. That might be the biggest request that you get from any of the applicants. But what I want to note about that is that it's significantly less, both in the number of projects and in the total amount than we have requested in past years. We spent a lot of time working on this application to try and truly determine what we thought were needs and what we thought were appropriate asks of the Gaming Advisory Board. And this is the list, this is the order, these are the amounts that we came up with. So with that said, if you don't have any questions at the outset, I'll go on to our first item. So let's talk a little bit about the history of our road maintenance and repair program. And I say that because this has been a multi-year project, and the Gaming Advisory Board and the commissioners have been very helpful to bring us to where we are now. But because it's a multi-year project, I want to start at how this began. So where we've been, where we are now, where we think we're going, okay? So several years ago, Brian Ziegler came on board as our Public Works Director, and he was able to look at things with a fresh set of eyes. And he realized that while we as a township had put a lot of money investing in various types of infrastructure, the roads really needed some help. And that's a picture of one of those roads that needed help that we subsequently paved as part of this project with assistance from the county. I'm going to ask you, does anybody recognize that road? Because there's a hint at the top of the screen. That is the sign for Hollywood Casino at Penn National Racecourse. This is Bow Creek Road, the road that serves as the access point for the casino. And as you can see from that roadway, there's cracking, there's spalling, and the asphalt is coming apart from the stone.
Is that sealant in the picture?
Yes.
Okay, from here it looks like duct tape, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
No, it is.
Okay.
Brand new use.
Wow.
It is sealant, but to your duct tape comment, metaphorically, there was a good bit of duct taping that was going on our roads before we implemented this program. And as I noted, that's a road that we were able to improve. It cost $400,000, but this is what our program has been able to address. And that's an example of one of those roads that truly needed help. So how are we going to address this? Well, when Brian came on board, he started to invest a lot more of our resources into the roads, but running parallel with that, we tasked our township engineer, HRG, to give us an idea of the quality of our roads. And they developed a pavement condition index scoring, or PCI, to basically put a number on each of our roads, which would give us the ability to truly determine which roads were most in need of being addressed. And that's a scale that goes from 100 for the best condition of roads all the way down to 0. I'm going to talk about this later, but 65 is the PCI number, which is kind of a break-even point. Once roads get underneath that 65 score, it becomes a whole lot more expensive to fix them because the degradation is that significant. So this program has not only allowed us to identify the roads that most need to be addressed, but it's also helped us to identify which ones are okay for a while, right? And which ones we need to invest in right away because the costs are going to be more significant if we don't. And we've been following that program for several years now, and we've seen a lot of success as a result of it. But it comes at a high price tag. So the HRG study indicated that if we would spend $700,000 a year on our road projects, we basically wouldn't get ahead of things. We'd be repairing roads, but other roads would be degrading such that it would be kind of in equilibrium. And we wouldn't really be getting ahead. However, every dollar we spend over $700,000 goes to get us ahead. And so that we won't have roads anywhere in the township that look like that road once did. So with that in mind, the Board of Supervisors the last 3 years have invested significantly more than that $700,000 break-even point, averaging $1 million a year, about 50% more than that break-even point. That's a significant cost. That runs to about 20 to 30% of our annual combined general fund and liquid fuels fund budget. It becomes our second highest cost item after salaries and benefits. It's a lot for a mostly rural, small population municipality like us to address. And we've been very appreciative of the support of the county over the years. Just over the past 3 years, we have received more than $1.3 million to help us out with those costs. And we're really appreciative. The success we have seen is in part due to you all, and we're grateful for that.
And this is outsourced?
Correct, it's contracted out, yes. So I want to talk a little bit about some specific accomplishments that we've had. That's a big picture of what the costs are and what we're hoping to do. But we have some very specific success stories that I want to talk about. Over to the right, that's a map of the work that has been done throughout our township since 2019. The red shows those roads that have been addressed from 2019 up through 2023. The blue area shows those roads that we paved in 2024. At a risk of getting ahead of myself, if you can see the roads in green, those are the ones that we are planning to pave in 2025. And what you can see, we've done roads in all portions of the township, and we've done all types of roads. Well, what kind of roads am I talking about? Well, we've done high traffic roads, such as Jonestown Road, which runs in between and parallel to Interstate 81 and Route 22, which means it sees a lot of traffic from vehicles that are trying to avoid traffic backups on those roads, and especially when there are accidents on those roads, which sadly on Interstate 81 happens a whole lot more frequently than we would like. So it has a lot of traffic volume on it. But up to 2 years ago, it was in really bad shape. just potholes everywhere. As part of this program, we were finally able to give that high-traffic road the attention that it deserved. And the residents have been very happy to see that that is finally a road that is able to bear the sort of vehicles that are on it. But we've also done residential roads, like in the Fairfield Acres development. This was a residential community that hasn't had its roads paved for decades. And as a result of this program, we were able to go in and give those property owners the sort of roads that their homes deserved.
Do you have a lot of sewer there, or is it septic?
We have a mix throughout the township, and that's a great question, because part of the reason Fairfield Acres wasn't addressed was just because nobody had paved it in a while. But another reason was there was the potential of sewer that was coming through there. So we held off, because the last thing we want to do is throw good money after bad, right, to pave the road and then to have the sewer come along. But we were able to avoid sewering that area. And as soon as we got the word from DEP on that, we went ahead and paved those roads as part of that program. And it's a lot of roads back in that development. We've also improved connector roads. While most of what we do is paving, we've also used this funding to improve safety. North Mill is a connector road between Jonestown Road and US 22. There's a lot of traffic locally that uses that road to connect those two roads. But it's a very narrow road, and there's a really tough S-turn on it. And those two things combined led to a real safety issue. Last year, we paved that road, but as part of the project, we also expanded the road so that there are wider driving lanes. And so that pinch point at the S-turn isn't quite the safety issue it was before. So we're not just improving roads, we're improving safety as part of this. And one of my favorite ones that we did was actually last year. East Karen Drive is in a residential neighborhood. There's a number of houses there and a church. It's actually just south of East Hanover Elementary School, if you know where that is. And it's been a stone road for 60 or 70 years, something like that. And the residents have frequently asked, when are you going to pave our road like all the other residential areas in town? And I'm happy to say that as part of the project we did last year, we did pave that road. And the residents have been thrilled to finally have a paved road.
There's not one person that misses the stone road?
What's that?
There's not one person?
Not one person who misses the stone road. Yeah, yeah. The last one I want to point out, I mentioned earlier, and that's Bow Creek Road. And there's a picture of the area of Bow Creek Road that we paved 2 years ago. You can see over to the right, there's Hollywood Casino, and the driveway entrance for that is onto Bow Creek Road. That was a significant project that alone cost us $400,000, but we knew that that was a road that needed to be addressed, and we were happy to do that as part of this multi-year project. So those are some specific things that we've been able to accomplish over the years. So let's talk about 2025. We are planning to continue to follow our township engineer's plan in 2025 at an estimated cost of $1.15 million. So that's more than 50% higher than that $700,000 break-even point. And if you look to the right of the screen, you see the estimated PCI. That's that pavement condition index I mentioned earlier, where roads above 65 on that, it's not going to cost as much to fix them as if they're under 65. And if you look at most of those numbers, they're in the high 60s or in the low 70s. I point that out to show you that we are still using this tool to identify roads that need to be addressed, and there are still roads that need to be addressed, even with all of the work that we have done thus far. That's why we're bringing this back to you this year. One road in particular I want to point out is Bow Creek Road. That's the first road that's listed there. There's another stretch of that road north of the I-81 bridge to roughly where we ended the paving 2 years ago. It's doing the same thing as on that picture I showed you earlier. The stone is breaking away from the asphalt. There's cracking, there's spalling, and that is heavily used by vehicles coming off of 81 who are coming into the area specifically to visit Hollywood Casino. We recognize that that is an important artery, and that is our priority number one for paving next year. There's a number of other roads that you can see that we will be addressing. If you have any questions on those, let me know, but I want to particularly point out Jonestown Road. That's at a 99%. 100's the best you can have. Why in the world are we putting any money into that? Well, that was the road that we paved 2 years ago, but we did not put a wearing course on it. We did everything else but a wearing course. And the reason was we wanted to address the road because it was in such bad shape. But UGI was possibly going to run a natural gas line along that road. So we didn't want to put the wearing course on until we were sure that project was going to happen or was going to move. And this year we got word that that gas line is not going to be run along Jonestown Road. So the paving that we would be doing on Jonestown Road would just be the wearing course and putting that on top of the leveling course. And then that road will be completely done and paved, and we won't have to address it for a while. One thing to note, that $1.15 million doesn't include any contingency. That's 98% for paving, along with striping the roads and along with a little bit of crack sealing. With paving, the liquid asphalt index being what it is, it can change significantly from 1 year to the next, from 1 month to the next sometimes. We also put in $200,000 additional into our budget to address if there should be any significant cost overruns. We have it out for bid right now. We expect that we will get those bid numbers in the next 2 months. So that's big overview of our first priority item. Do any of you have questions before I move on?
And this includes some park trails, did I see that at this program?
This dollar amount does not. We do have paving that we are doing on some of our park trails, but I shared that in the application just so you can see there's a lot of additional paving that we're incurring costs for. But this 1.15 million is separate from that. These are just roads. Yeah. Let's go on to our second item of priority, requesting $99,678 for our first year lease payment on replacing the rescue pumper for the Granville Volunteer Fire Company. That's a picture of the current rescue pumper, and you may recall that a request related to this pumper was before you last year. This is an important piece of apparatus because it's dual use, meaning it is an engine that is able to pump and that holds water, so it is responding to fires in the township. But also it is dual use. It has the jaws of life. We are able to use it for vehicle extrications. So it also helps to address vehicle crashes. And we've got a decent number of them because of Interstate 81 going through our municipality. So it's a really important piece of apparatus, but it's also a really old piece of apparatus. It's more than 30 years old right now. And there's two different studies, the county study from back in 2011 and a study that the Township Board of Supervisors authorized more recently, both of which indicated that this vehicle is well past its useful life. And we're seeing the challenges of that. It's in the shop more often, which means we have an essential piece of apparatus that's off of our roads and can't respond to calls. So that is a big concern. And the other thing we're finding out is it's harder to find parts for older pieces of apparatus. And so recognizing how essential this piece of equipment is, in summer of 2023, the Board of Supervisors authorized purchasing a replacement rescue pumper for $1.15 million. That's a lot of money. So because of the price tag on that, the supervisors decided to finance it over 12 years. But to reduce the amount of that financing, the township put down a $350,000 down payment, which got that $1.15 million number down to $800,000 and change. I want to thank this county and the Gaming Advisory Board for the $240,000 that you awarded to us and that were applied to that down payment that got us to these relatively reasonable annual lease payments.
What year was this truck?
This truck is a 1994 that's being replaced, and the new apparatus is scheduled to arrive in 27.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Unfortunately, always lead times, with fire equipment, right? So what we are requesting support for now that we are in the lease agreement phase for this apparatus is assistance with that annual lease payment. And we made the first of those payments in 2024.
Even though you won't get it for 3 more years.
Correct. Yeah. Any questions on that?
What is the annual payment a year?
$99,678. So the ask amount matches the annual P&I.
So you, the first payment year, you obviously paid
Yes.
more, so like, was part of that just going to principal, then the other part, or was it?
No, the 99,678 is both principal and interest.
But your 240 that you paid,
Yeah, so the price of the apparatus was $1.15 million. We paid $350,000 as a down payment to get the amount to be financed down to $801,000. And that's what the financing is based on, if that answers your question.
well, I'm looking at, so you say assisted by $240,000. So the whole 240 didn't go towards the pumper, then only,
So 350 was out of the township's pocket, all went towards the pumper, so we would have to finance only $800,000. The gaming advisory board chipped in 240 so that our net cost was 110. Does that answer your question?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry if that was confusing, but yeah, that was
I
how
like how you did that.
Yeah, so a big out-of-pocket cost. That's why we were happy for the help, but, it's making for smaller payments annually going forward. And then the final item I want to bring before you is requesting $250,000 for renovations to our township building, kitchen, and bathrooms. Our township building is a 1986 build, and the kitchen and bathrooms are original to the building. So you can see some pictures of the kitchen down at the bottom of the screen and the bathrooms over towards the upper right part of the screen. And before I talk about the specifics of these rooms, I want to talk about how heavily the public uses our facilities. Not just the kitchen, but a large assembly room, which is adjacent to the kitchen. When the building was designed, I think it's safe to say that it was designed with the intention of being a community building as much as being a municipal building. And the large room in that building, or the large room in that building consequently is heavily used, not just for your typical township meetings and the like, which we have a lot of and which it is used for, but also by a lot of community groups. Our Parks and Rec Board uses that for a lot of events throughout the year, January through December. There's something going on every month in that room. The public comes out to it, and the kitchen is used for preparing food, for serving food and the like. But it's not just the township that uses it. The Grantville Senior Center is located in our building. They meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for food and for fellowship. They use our kitchen for the preparation of their meals. They also hold a big monthly event which brings in maybe 80 people, a time of fellowship. It is a catered meal. That catered food is prepared in that kitchen for those folks. Our volunteer fire company uses that kitchen for spaghetti fundraisers that it holds. It's also heavily used, though, by residents and even non-residents. We rent out the facilities for a very reasonable fee, and as such, it is frequently being rented for birthday parties, for wedding showers, for bridal showers, for reunions, for funeral receptions. And not just by our residents, but by folks from other townships because of how good the price is and how helpful those facilities are because of their size, because of the kitchen for the events that they are putting on. So that kitchen gets a lot of use by the public. But unfortunately, as you might expect from a 1986 build, it's inefficient and outdated. And I want to be clear about something. While a refresh is needed, because any sort of kitchen area used by the public is going to have its fair amount of dings and scrapes over the years, the primary reason we're doing this is not to refresh it. As much as the pea green vintage 1986 colors stand out. That's not why we're doing it, although we're gonna upgrade it as part of this project. But it's because it just isn't designed well. And we are really feeling that in a number of ways. One problem is it's not handicap accessible because 1986 predates the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's something that we want to address. Do you see anything along the walls of that kitchen, or maybe I should say anything not along the walls of that kitchen that seems unusual?
Fire extinguisher outlets.
There is absolutely a lack of electrical outlets and a lack of switches.
Or fire,
No,
like,
there's no uppers. There's no upper cabinet. So when this was designed, all of the storage is in lower cabinets. And because of that, behind that one wall that you see to the right of that picture to the left, there is a significant bump out into the room, which is a walk-in pantry, which is taking care of a lot of that storage. So it's making for a tighter, inefficient space because we have to have some storage somewhere. So because of these concerns, because of the age of it, the Township Board of Supervisors 2 years ago worked with a local architect to evaluate the site and determine how can we improve that area. And working with stakeholders, he has developed plans that we are now pursuing included in our township budget at a cost of $358,000 estimated. We're going ahead with that no matter what, because we think this is that important of a project. We are requesting $250,000 in funding for this project. What will this $358,000 get us? Well, it's going to provide some updates that we need to replace this 40-year-old countertops, cabinets, and the like. But it's going to do a number of other things. You know how I had mentioned that pantry which juts out into the kitchen space? By removing that, we are going to be using uppers, which is going to take care of a lot of that storage. And we're also repurposing these coat rack areas, both in the kitchen and the meeting room, to be pantry space that we can use for storage. So we're not going to be losing any storage with this project, but we're going to be able to remove that pantry area. That's going to provide us with a lot of benefits. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of the drawing there, you might be able to see that there is an island which is going to be put in. It's going to make it a wider area. An island with a sink is going to be installed, and that's going to be handicapped accessible, which is so important for the seniors who meet there 3 times a week, and so important for many of the residents and non-residents who use our facilities for their family reunions and their parties and things. So that's going to allow us to make it ADA accessible. So that's a plus. But it also means that we are going to be able to repurpose other space in that room as an office. And that's at the far upper right-hand corner of that drawing there. I mentioned how this was designed to be a community building as much as a township building. And what it means is our office space right now is at a premium. We don't have any available office space. And we do have needs where we might need to add staff, but we can't do it because we don't have anywhere to put them. And one of our existing offices is used by our seniors group. We're happy to have them. But by doing this renovation, we will be able to move that seniors group into this newly designed office in the kitchen where a lot of their work happens anyways. It will open up office space for us, and that's going to give us more flexibility to do the things the townships are supposed to do. So benefits, it needs a refresh. It's going to be ADA accessible, and it's going to free up office space for basic township functions elsewhere. We're requesting $250,000 towards this project. Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, we're gonna have to move along here a little bit. So do we have questions?
I do not know.
So I do have a question.
Yes.
So in the past, when you come here, you say, you know, if we reduce the amount, you'll just do less roads, sort of thing.
Yes.
But you have these ranked in your priority.
Yes.
So obviously you say the kitchen will go no matter what, because that you're committed to it, that sort of thing. So,
Wait, the kitchen's your number one? Not
No,
the
kitchen's number 3.
kitchen's number, he said it's gonna happen regardless whether we allocate funds toward it.
Each of these projects are going to happen regardless. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And again, we appreciate your cooperation over the years. It's been wonderful. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Stay warm.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Get a few minutes in now, we're gonna get up here.
Take care, y'all.
Stop and wash my face and brush my teeth. I can't sit through this stuff, refreshing a little bit. Shake my hair, I've never seen it. Hey there.
Good afternoon. So this year, a little something different for you guys, right? We're gonna live stream, so got things going on here, so please, for those that are remote, make sure you identify yourself, who you're affiliated with and the project that you're presenting. Also, please project with your voice, the mic's out here somewhere, so make sure that picks you up. You guys have a time slot shared with, are both parties in with Dairy Township?
Yes, both.
So you guys total have a half hour. You guys just want to split that up in any kind of way?
Fire department in with Dairy Township as well?
No, it's the police department in the township.
Okay.
Township.
Mr.
So you got
Sonneman's-
Public Works in the police department, right?
Mr. Sonneman's with Hershey Volunteer Fire Department. I
So,
think you guys have a separate.
yeah, so the township is here for the dump truck project, and then the police department is here for your two projects, and then you said fire.
Again,
Really, fire department was first priority.
Yeah, I think it was the signs and then the lights.
Yeah, fire department, fire.
Yeah, I
Rodney,
think
would
the
you
fire
be
was
the
the
contact
first.
person for
Yep.
that? So that application will be reviewed at our future meeting, that is not yet scheduled. You're a repeat applicant, so
Right.
you didn't get your own public hearing.
Okay.
So it's still being reviewed and will be discussed at a future meeting.
Okay. Somehow, maybe the appointment was broken, but, okay.
What?
I thought I had an appointment broke, to be here at 4:30 today.
So Dairy Township does. Are you a contact person with,
Yes.
on any of the other projects?
No.
So then I don't know if it was just mixed in because Dairy Township was the co-applicant and maybe they thought that you were to be here, but that application is being reviewed at a future date.
I'll come back another day. No problem.
you want them to stay?
Yeah, you're
It's up
welcome
to
to stay here.
Let's take Angel.
So, all right, whenever you guys are ready, please make sure you identify yourselves, right?
I see you're all queued up there, so we might as well go. I'm Thomas Clark, Public Works Director for Dairy Township. Along with me today, I have Greg Watts, Assistant Director for the Public Works Department. He has put together the PowerPoint program that you have today, so I'll let him take it from here. And when he's done, if anyone has any questions, either of us should be able to answer them for you.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Watts, and as the Assistant Director of Public Works at the Township of Derry, I would like to thank the members of the Dauphin County Gaming Advisory Board for your time and your consideration to fund our requested project.
You have some down button.
Got it. Our proposed project for this grant term is the purchase of a Western Star 47X dump truck with stainless steel dump bed outfitted with a snow plow and tailgate spreader. In spring of 2024, we increased the size of our full-time public works staff by 2, going from 21 to 23 full-time employees. Later in 2024, we took delivery of a similar Western Star dump truck to support 1 additional hire, but are still in need of an additional truck to support the second addition to our crew. This additional truck will also assist in the eventual phasing out of a couple of older, deteriorating dump trucks that are 21 and 23 years old. Our objectives are to use this new equipment to maintain and improve our township roadways, shoulders, bridges, and other infrastructure, to support the local economy, support tourism, and maintain access to recreational activities in our public parks and along our trail systems. This equipment will assist our public works team's winter operations by adding to the efficiency of snow and ice removal from 141.3 lane miles of roadway, consisting of 11 miles of alleys, 107 miles of local township roads, and 23.3 miles of state roads. This increased efficiency will result in safer roads that remain passable during and immediately following winter weather events and other natural disasters, which is necessary to maintain access to critical emergency services. We expect that this new vehicle will result in increased productivity, less downtime for mechanical failures, and less maintenance burden for our mechanics. Prior to the 24-25 winter season, we were able to revise and shorten our snowplow routes to reflect the efficiencies made possible by the addition of 2 full-time employees and additional trucks. This will shorten the time needed to return our roads to black and should result in decreased winter weather-related accidents. We also expect that this increased efficiency in winter operations will enable police, fire, and emergency medical services to respond more quickly during winter weather events. Additionally, we expect that projects completed with this equipment, such as in-house paving, shoulder improvements, and the removal of roadside hazards, will result in safer roadways and decreased accidents as we try to align with PennDOT's goal to reduce fatalities and move towards 0 deaths. Finally, we expect to see continued economic growth and increased tourism as we improve and maintain our infrastructure for our residents and for township visitors with updated vehicles like the Western Star dump truck requested in our project. In closing, I want to assure members of this board that should we be awarded this project, we will be good stewards of your investment and will protect it to the best of our abilities. All township-owned vehicles and equipment are inspected, maintained, and supported by 3 full-time mechanics. Our fleet management software enables us to strictly adhere to preventative maintenance schedules, resulting in many of our vehicles remaining in service for 20 to 25 years. The Western Star dump truck will be housed in a climate-controlled facility to keep it out of the elements and ensure maximum life expectancy. As many of you know, calcium chloride is incredibly corrosive and can severely reduce the life expectancy of vehicles if not removed quickly. Our public works facility is outfitted with a wash bay, which allows us to quickly remove corrosive salt residues from all vehicles and equipment involved in winter operations to reduce rust, corrosion, and premature mechanical failure to prolong vehicle life. Again, I want to thank you for your time and consideration and answer any questions that you may have. Any questions?
I assume all the trucks you buy are automatic transmission these days? Yeah, okay.
So out of curiosity, I'm not sure what roads you actually plow, but say like there's that new roundabout that went in not too long ago. Is that one that you guys plow?
Half of that is ours, half of it, well, 2/3 of, 3/4 of it is ours, actually. the state
But
comes.
you go all the way around.
Yeah, we go all the way around.
You don't
And
like
So is
that's-
that more efficient for you guys, or are these things got a large enough diameter that works with your plows and that sort of stuff?
The only thing I found good about roundabouts is it makes snow removal easier.
Okay.
You don't have to clean the corners of the intersection.
You just can't educate the people on how to use it.
That's correct.
Because you have a fair amount going out the other way as well, right, through.
Yeah, we
Hershey.
do have some out on 322 around the Mount Hershey campus, yes, sir.
Interesting, yeah. Well, we'll chalk one up for the engineers. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to the police department.
I want to thank the board for hearing of these two projects that we have for Dairy Township. The first being,
Excuse me, sir.
Pardon me.
Your name?
yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's Garth Warner, and I'm the chief of police at Dairy Township Police Department. So we are requesting grant money through the Dauphin County Local Share Municipal Grant for the acquisition of mobile speed display trailers and stationary speed display boards for the purposes of supporting traffic calming and speed reduction within residential and commercial districts within Dairy Township. The two specific items, the trailers are All Traffic Solutions ATS 5 Flex trailers, which are speed. They can display speeds of vehicles, but they can also display messages. So if we want to put them out as message boards, we can put them out as message boards, alert the motoring public to a hazard ahead or a detour, something like that. And then the Shield Radar speed signs, also by All Traffic Solutions, is a mounted speed sign, has a solar panel to power it and recharge it, and it will display the speed of a vehicle approaching it. And the goal of using these is to put them on roadways that are entering the jurisdiction. So state roadways, local roadways that are entering the jurisdiction, let the motorists know what speed they're traveling at, what the speed limit is, and if they need to slow down, they can do so. So we're attempting to reduce motor vehicle crashes, provide traffic calming measures in residential and commercial areas that are prone to excessive speed complaints and incidents, and also provide information because they can collect information. We already have a cloud service with ATS where we can collect that information and do traffic safety studies, see if we have any speeding issues on a certain location, and when those speeding issues are occurring, date and time, time of day, so we can have that information to our traffic safety section. As I said, the trailers can be used as message boards, and we can alter traffic if we need to. So we can use those message boards to alter traffic if there's a blockage ahead. And these are going to address one of the main complaints that we get, not only as a police department, but the township in general, on probably not necessarily a daily basis, but maybe a tri-daily basis of speeding complaints within the jurisdiction. It's something that we can use these devices to address those things. If we get a speeding complaint, we can try to use these devices to monitor and hopefully give some information back to the public as well. Give them some information of, these are the times of days that we see speeding issues on the roadway, or that we don't see speeding issues at all. So we can give information back to the public, to the residents, to our guests that flow in and out of the township. Some of those guests are going, and I've experienced this while I was on the road, wasn't that long ago. We get a lot of traffic from Lancaster County and below that are going out to the casino. They will use 743 as a main route to get there, and we experience a good amount of traffic going out to the casinos. So the public need for these traffic safety solutions is great.
Question for you.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
saying how this collects data and that sort of stuff. Well, don't know 100%, but like, you can't get traffic citations from those, right, from the data that's.
No, they are radar based. So first of all, municipal police can't, but yeah.
But would you be able to generate information enough that you could send information to, say, that individual or that, whoever that car is registered to, that, hey, your vehicle was blah, blah, blah? Or would that do any good, or is that just waste of good letterhead?
I wouldn't say it's a waste of letterhead. I think the logistics of doing that, just from anecdotal data, most people are traveling above the speed limit. It varies on how much they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can get information on the vehicle itself. There are features in these where you can set it, if they're above a certain speed over the speed limit, it will actually generate a picture of the vehicle. Whether it's good enough to get a license plate, I don't know, but we have used it in the past. We have a similar device that's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit more clumsy to put up, but we have been able to identify a type of vehicle and a color of vehicle. And if that vehicle has been generating some complaints, we can have an officer out there to try to see if they're able to stop that vehicle and let them know that we receive complaints and so forth. So we do capture some data that we can use in that respect, but most of the data that we would capture, we would use to determine, do we need to do anything further in traffic calming to try to get the speeds down.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the second project that we are looking at is using the grant program for the acquisition of electric police mountain bikes to support our mountain bike patrol and community policing operations in residential areas, especially during special events that we have, concerts and the like that we have downtown and at the Hershey Entertainment facilities. Currently, we've had our mountain bike program for about 20 years, and some of the bikes that we're using right now are 15 to 20 years old. And they are conventional mountain bikes, pedal, gears, chains, and so forth. So this would enhance the capabilities of those mountain bike officers, especially if they are doing community policing activities where they're out away from their vehicle in a residential neighborhood. They're able to get out further with these bikes. Less pedal power is needed. They can use some of the electric capabilities of the bike. And then if they have to get back to their vehicle, if an emergency call comes in and they have to get back to their vehicle quickly and get to that emergency call, they're not going to be winded. They're not going to be out of breath. And they're going to be more capable when they do arrive at that call to be able to handle the situation. So it's going to be an added benefit for them. We do use the mountain bikes really heavily in town, in the downtown district, and for special events. And they have become invaluable, especially in areas where you have a lot of vehicular traffic. Being able to get in and out, go to calls for service in those areas, problems that arise, those bike officers are able to get in and out and handle the situation. So we do use them heavily, and these e-bikes would definitely be an advantage for them to be able to do their jobs and also be a community asset as far as community policing.
Is there a specific spec for these bikes or
yes,
manufacturers that are making them?
Yeah, I think I provided that to Brooke via email, but the one that we're looking at is the volcanic electric mountain bike, and it is actually rated for police patrol. I've seen it in use and I have actually talked with some mountain bike officers in Erie. And the city of Erie uses them quite extensively and they are quite pleased with them. There are some speeds that they can get up to that are quite surprising. I know if they're going downhill and they have it at full throttle, they're probably getting in the neighborhood of around 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour, which is probably actually kind of dangerous on these things. But, they are able to accelerate and get to an area rather quickly.
That's super fast.
That is super fast.
Because the high-end bikes are like 21.
Bicycle helmet's probably not gonna protect you too much. But, if you're going downhill and you accelerate, you can get some pretty high speeds.
Are your 3 projects that you have here in any sort of order?
I believe the township has the electronic signs.
So the resolution that the
Okay.
township did is the mountain bikes, or has them as mountain bikes, the display trailer, and then
Okay.
the stationary board. Is that the priority?
So,
Or does that rank?
that
I
only
didn't know
covers
if it was
these 2 projects.
Yeah. I'm only asking about the police because they do have your other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the police department. Yeah, police department was the mountain bikes and then the 2 speed display entities, the trailers and the boards.
It says prioritize the other.
Are you asking them if the police department's priority is A, B, C?
Correct.
Yes,
Is that your
Yes.
priority? Okay.
Yeah, you're not talking about the overall
no.
township?
just-
Okay.
Because I couldn't weed that out.
Is there any more questions on the bikes or?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
straightforward.
I appreciate the board's time and consideration of this matter.
Okay.
Thank you guys for putting together a good presentation and getting the information out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Who's the meeting on the 14th?
I stopped over here. Can you hear me? Oh, I'm heard these wrong. But then I didn't expect to stop.
Why do we have an agenda for that? There's
Uh,
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't send one. He did send yours.
It's a shame we couldn't just give the fire guy time today, but it wasn't advertised.
I'm not sure what our advertisement rates at.
I know, I just figured it had all this.
So he gave me
That's the
the tax,
times.
yeah, so he gave.
I would be curious about that.
Yeah.
When did we actually get these?
So I don't know.
I know, I just got them 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, she just sent out a flyer, please,
I need
to
to
the
get
township for April then.
Hi, Lynn.
Hello, how are you?
Can't believe it's this time of year
I
again,
know, here we are, it just rolls around.
So new this year, we are live streaming. Please speak as as clearly as possible. Identify yourselves and what projects you're with, and who you represent, I guess, as well. As you know, you have approximately 30 minutes for your presentation. Just to keep us honest, I'll set a timer for 25.
Somebody said,
If that goes off, we know that we need to wrap things up. Just folks
hey, good to see you
on your
again.
heels. We'll be good neighbors, right? It's your neighbor.
Yeah. There is a remote,
Anybody sit
whoever
here?
will be handling.
Thank you very much, you
too, Paul. There is a remote that can.
Thank you.
Where is the camera?
The camera is that
This
white,
tower right here.
it's a 360.
I just wanted to see how, like, how, what side they're gonna see.
Is that your
from.
good side, or do you wanna move up here?
And I wanted to go in the bathroom.
So Paul, you see the clicker?
And you can go on to the county's gaming advisory board website, check out your look later.
Present.
Whenever y'all are ready, where's yours?
Good evening, Lynn Wiesner from South Hanover and Paul McNamee from McNamee Consulting Strategies. We are here tonight. We have 3 different things that we are requesting assistance with. As you know, we've been here the last couple of years. The township has some major projects going on right now, things that are mandated, or Act 537, which is 3 sewer infrastructure areas. And so we are looking for assistance in any way we can. As you know, Project 1 is the debt service for the new municipal complex and emergency service center. Patriot Park has become a hub for the community, which was our goal with that, with Patriot Park. And that is the first section of, that we are asking for. Again, debt reduction. And, if you go through our packet, you can see the different local share grants that we've requested from back in 2009. Again, a lot of it was towards the municipal complex, which we have built, and again, it's very popular. However, where that municipal complex came from was the 3rd Street location, which is a very old building, which now houses our public works facility. If you remember that old administration building, I believe it was built in 1945. Our public works works out of there right now. And it does look like it was built in 1945. So going through the, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. Where do
Down button goes.
go down?
Yes.
I can't go up. Thank you, George. I need all the help I can get. Thank you. Again, Paul McNamee, thank you again. We've been here before. I'm going to fly through these slides because some of them you've seen before. But we always want to submit a comprehensive application and a presentation. So if you have any questions, you can stop me en route, or we can answer your questions at the end. First one is debt service, as Lynn said. We're very thankful for all the grants, the gaming grants that, local share gaming grants that the township received in the past. And all that money, I think, except for like $50,000 has been spent. And that $50,000 was part of the grant we got last year, and then it'll be spent here in March. So all of our grant funds that you've awarded to the township will have been encumbered and spent. We're asking for $300,000 reduce debt. We've gone through this before. Here's the this Route 39 down to the right. Fire station is to the right there alongside the Route 39 administration building in the middle. And there should be, there we go. Right there is the fire station, municipal building. Down here is the old municipal building, and here's the public works facility. And we'll talk about the new public works facility. It's going to be located right here, off Union Deposit Road. I'm going to slide through these. You've seen these before. Again, this was occupied, I think, in 2017, and now we're just paying down the debt on it. These are the categories. It meets most of the categories of the grant criteria: infrastructure, emergency services, public interest. We did reclaim an old brownfield site for Patriot Park. Green sustainable design, and it's the whole theme of the complex was to create a center of activity for the township, which it never had before. And I can assure you that it has become a center of activity, right, Lynn? I mean, you have everything going on there.
Very much so.
Again, regarding the debt, one of your questions was, when will the debt be paid off? We have a 40-year USDA loan for the project. Right now, it's scheduled to be paid off in 2047. It was 2057, so we accelerated the payoff by 10 years since we started receiving debt service payments, and the township has used those debt service payments and its own money to pay off early some of the debt. Because as Lynn said, we have other projects that we need to finance going forward that are in the, the sewer projects in the $7 to $8 million range, the public works buildings in the $8 to $9 million range, the fire pumpers, the pumper tankers in the $800,000, $900,000 range. MS4 projects are in whatever range they might end up to be. And they just finished a new master plan for their bicycle and walkways throughout the township. Pedestrian multimodal facilities. And that's got a whole different range of costs and projects to it, so.
Is that a multi-year plan?
Pardon?
Is that a multi-year plan?
Yes.
Yes. It's got short-term and long-term plans, and it ties all the existing paths together with proposed new ones. And it was done in concert with the surrounding townships so that whatever is built can connectivity to Derry Township, West Hanover, East Hanover. And also it gives a plan for when developers come in for new developments. It gives a way to connectivity for those new developments into bike paths, pedestrian paths, and things like that. So they got a grant from CFA to do that master plan. It was just finished, and it's just now starting to be implemented. So
does that tie into like the Milton Hershey pathways and stuff? I think you have where the old golf course is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually we want
That's
to
awesome.
connect that whole circle. There's just a few pieces that are not connected there.
That's awesome.
And Route 39, we know needs some kind of pathway. It's so dangerous, Route 39. But we have actually, we're adopting it, the final plan, next week. And we've already had to refer back to it with people who are looking to do subdivisions and or Hayshed Road project and so forth. So the nice thing about having it is it really gives us a leg to stand on when we say, you can do that, this is what we need from you.
Yeah.
So it really does.
No, and then eventually you see it in their flyer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But yeah, all the townships surrounding us, they all have given input.
including Dauphin County, which also has a master plan. So it's also a greenways plan, so that the greenways along Soterra Creek and Beaver Creek and places like that, we can preserve the green space along and have a way of, managing that for the future of the township, because it is a high growth township.
Yeah.
It's one of the fastest growing townships in the Dauphin County region. I think it was the second fastest growing in the last 20 years. So it is still developing. So, and it all ties back to the municipal complex, because all the paths really will end up back at the central part of the township. Public need, fire station, administrate all the zoning, land development, sewer bills, community center, everything focuses around this. When you add it all up, it was about a $10 million project. When you add all the interest together, we received $3.6 million in grants for the project from Dauphin County. We appreciate that. We received the CFA grant for the park. We've financed it with USDA loan, and we also got Hershey to contribute to it for the traffic signal at 39 and some infrastructure for their Venice campus. So it was a public-private partnership that took some more time to put together, but it's all worked out pretty well. I'm not going to read all these. You've got copies of it. As far as supporting Penn National, where the gaming funds come from, about 13% of the calls go to East Hanover Township. There's a lot of people that travel through the township to get to the Penn National. There's a lot of people that work at Penn National, live in the township. And we're a contiguous township, so we think we're using the money wisely to increase the services that the township provides to the residents and the public and how it impacts Penn National. So we really thank Penn National for all that they've done and Dauphin County for using the gaming funds the way they have. I'm going backwards, I'm sorry.
You're pushed down to go
I'm
forward.
sorry.
It's not intuitive.
So, as far as our schedule, we'll apply for a grant next year for debt service. And we have a lot of support for the project over the years, just list some of them there. We did attend a pre-application meeting, and I think if you look, we check all the boxes for all the categories of the criteria for the grant. So we're asking $300,000. Anything that Dauphin County sees viable to a grant South Hanover Township, it will be used wisely for debt service, for continued service to the residents and public in South Hanover Township.
Is that the limit for the yearly debt service payment?
Pardon?
Is that the amount for the year, 300,000?
Our amount's about $150,000 a year,
Okay.
but if we get extra, we pay forward. We pay principal. There is no, with USDA's loan, there's no penalty for paying down the loan early. So there's no prepayment penalty. So, like I said, we've been able to shave 10 years off that debt service already. Any other questions? I'll go on to project 2. Project 2 is, we talked about the new public works facility, and you've been very kind, Dauphin County has been very kind to provide some gaming funds for the new facility. We're asking now for some money for land acquisition from Hershey Trust for 14.29 acres. I'm going to get to the slide here. Okay, this is the municipal complex here. As I said before, this is existing public works. The new public works facility is going to be located right in here. We're looking to acquire a strip of land from Union Deposit Road up and down through here to put the public works facility on, put a new road in for access to the new public works facility off of Union Deposit Road. There's also an easement through here to connect into the road that goes down to Route 39. And the township eventually wants to extend that road from the public works up to the municipal complex and tie in so that the fire company, when Route 39 is blocked for emergency purposes, say an accident, or the traffic that happens in Hershey during a nice concert or something like that, sometimes you can't get out here. So the township has preliminary plans to put an emergency service road from the municipal complex down to Union Deposit Road on that same land. So the land acquisition for the public works will serve a couple purposes. Provide access to Union Deposit for the new public works facility, and also provide the means for the township to have an emergency access down to, we're not looking for this to be a 3-street township road. because we don't want, people bypass, what do I do?
Go up, arrow up. Like that.
I'm sorry. I'm old, George. Technology, if you don't get it wrong sometimes. So that's, again, this is the Public Works Building, Union Deposit Road. This is the area of the new Public Works Building. This is the elementary school here. And this is that parcel, if you this is the parcel that we were talking about. The old Public Works facilities right here, Union Deposit Road right here. Bring it up. In the future, there might be the ability to connect, 3rd Street, is it? 3rd Street out here to access. Right now, that's in the long range plan. So the new Public Works building is set in here, but there's 14.29 acres. It's been appraised. There's been an offer made with Hershey Trust, and we're getting ready to close on it here in the early part of the year.
I did want to mention too, Mr. McAfee mentioned about the 3rd Street extension. So in the original plans, we had that extension. If you're familiar with South Hanover Township Elementary and the traffic backup, because there's very little room to go in and out of that school. So the 3rd Street extension was in the original plan. We're going to have a cutout there for it. A 3rd Street extension means right now it's a dead end. You can't go from 3rd Street to Union Deposit Road. It will be in the long range plan. But when we got our first cost back for the Public Works building and the board was sticker shocked at $10.6 million, we've sat down probably about 10 times with the architect and design team and have cut down, so we're down to about 8 million. And this 3rd Street extension opening, because of the HOP and everything else with PennDOT and the cost of that, that's been put on the back burner. However, when we built the municipal complex, that we received the right-of-way for that alley from the municipal center down to Public Works. So we've had that for about 7 years. And what I had found out was that was originally supposed to be open too, but the sticker shock from municipal center price, when they were building that cut that out. We have the right of way, the path was never made because it was gonna be like $1 million, so they cut that out. But now with this upcoming project, that will be part of it, which will be a great asset, especially with the fire department.
And there's the possibility that the Lower Dauphin County School District could apply for a PennDOT grant. Safe street to schools to extend this in the future. So we don't want to also build something which we might be able to be qualifying for a grant in the future for. And once we take the Public Works traffic out of, right now all Public Works traffic either goes this way or this way through the village or past the elementary school. So we'll remove all that traffic. So the safety of the school students and the village will be drastically increased with this project because we'll be coming in and off of Union Deposit Road in the future. And this is just some shots of the existing facility. We've been through that before. This is just an overview of, and this is still in design, so it's the configuration layout of it is being tweaked to keep costs, but also make sure it provides for the long-term, growth of the township. And again, it covers all the categories: infrastructure, public interest, economic development. Penn National, we're about 10 miles from Penn National. The Public Works Department takes care of all the roads. They plow the state highways and the township roads. They maintain the sewer system. So it's truly a public service project. And just the need is just as Glenn says, on a dead-end street. They have over 50 miles of roads, 700 signs, 7 parks, and those parks are growing. And they're meeting the growth needs of the township. As Lynn said, we're around $8 million for the construction. The red here is the land acquisition that's pending that we're asking for a grant for. How we're gonna finance it, we've got some gaming funds already. We did get a Keystone Communities grant for $400,000 for the design. And the township was just awarded a statewide local share gaming grant for $600,000 for the project. So, but that still leaves $8.7 million in local share, even with that financing. But the township I think they do a great job of trying to find all sources of funding for the project. They're not just relying on gaming funds for the whole project. They go and look for grants and other sources of funds, public-private, contributions for their projects. And leveraging, again, the township would put in about 8.7. We're asking for 300,000. You're leveraging about 20, 30 times the grant funds versus what the local share would be. The schedule, we're looking at the land acquisition here in February, March. Design completed in late summer. Move into Public Works Department in late 2026. And some of the schedules has extended a little bit because the township has spent a lot of time making sure that the project is viable from a cost standpoint and a need standpoint. You can cut costs, but eventually you reach the point where you're cutting costs and you're not meeting the needs anymore. A lot of support for the project. We did attend the pre-application meeting, and it does meet all the criteria. So that's project number 2. Any questions? Thank you. Project number 3 is the Township Fire Company pumper tanker. We were here last year, if you remember, looking to buy a new pumper tanker. Since then, a fire company in Lancaster County merged with another fire company. And that fire company they merged with had a new pumper tanker on order. And then the merging township fire company had one, so they put it up for auction. The township did go ahead and purchase it for $800 and some thousand. We were projecting that a new fire truck was going to cost $1.3 million. So and that was a fire pumper tanker that didn't have a lot of mileage on it, doesn't have a lot of mileage on it, it's in great shape, and it meets all the needs for the township. And so the township went ahead and has signed a purchase agreement for it and paid a down payment for it. And this is it right here.
Do you have paid
Pardon?
firefighters? Do you have paid firefighters?
No paid firefighters. We don't have live-ins either.
Okay.
It's all volunteer, yep.
I don't know how long that
I
will.
know that.
Can you?
As you know,
Just as
I didn't
you
ask that
suggest.
question for a reason.
Yeah.
and that's a discussion for another time. Fire pumper tanker it's a safety thing. It's a public service thing. Again, it does provide service to Penn National. Some of the runs are to Penn National. They provide support to East Hanover and West Hanover.
And Middle Paxton, they were at the fire.
Yeah, they go into Lancaster County. They go into all of Dauphin County just about.
You're going to Lancaster?
Yeah. It depends on the backup in your box number, when how your box.
This seems so far away in my mind.
No.
Going to the other side of Lower Dauphin School District seems kind of far away to me too.
Yeah. But this morning, the fire up in Middle Paxton, because I saw all our hydrants had been used at the firehouse in South Hanover. There was water everywhere this morning when I pulled in, and I was worried the hydrants were leaking, and they needed to utilize that, to assist with the middle Paxton fire, which I guess was pretty bad. So,
Yeah, I think it depends on the extent of the fire and what kind of structure it is and what else is going on at the time. As you know, they're also right off of 81 there. There's a lot of accidents on 81 that get called out too. It's not even in the township, so. One of the major reasons is that 50% of the township is on wells. So if you don't have a pumper tanker, the current tanker only has 1,000 gallons, the new one will have 3,000 gallons, so 3 times as much water storage. And that's very critical, and when you get to a fire, you gotta have water. And if there's no wells, no fire hydrants to draw from, you gotta have a tanker, and 50% of township is on wells. I'm gonna speed it up here. So, the $825,000 was the cost. They made a down payment of $15,000. They used the general fund of $200,000. They got a $24,000 grant last year from gaming that they're using toward the purchase, and then that leaves $586,000. They did apply for a USDA 20-year loan at 4% interest, which was approved. We're pleased to say. Loan closing is this spring, March, April. So the debt service, they'll be paying off the debt service over 20 years for a tanker that should last 20 years. So it's a great deal for the township. As I said, the township looks every way they can to save dollars. And this is just a schedule that I just went through. It's really received a lot of support. The Planning Commission, the Dauphin County Planning Commission says it's a great project. One of the questions you asked is the interaction with South Hammer Town. Fire company supports the township supports fire company. Fire police, they come out to the park events. They report to the township, on their operations, their financing, things like that. So, good relationship between the fire company and the township. Now, the pumper tanker was listed in the 2011 your board's comprehensive review of emergency services, and it was recommended for replacement 10 years ago, to be replaced 10 years ago. So we're 10 years past its useful life already, according to that report, so.
Well, there was COVID and all.
Pardon?
There was COVID and all.
Yeah. It meets all the criteria. Asking for $100,000 for the pumper tanker purchase, help down payment on that. And then you asked for ranking of all the projects. Debt service on municipal complex is number 1. The land acquisition for public works is number 2. Replacement of pumper tankers number 3. And then they had 4 other organizations that requested their support. Christian Banner, Civic Association, the American Auto Museum, Ronald McDonald House, United Disability Services Foundation. This is the orders that they ranked those projects in 1 through 4. So I think that ends our presentation. I went through it really quickly, so.
I'm trying to think of any municipality that will have a complex like that. Like, that's pretty cool. I mean, not municipality, fire, and public works, not all at one campus.
Right.
Yeah, not around here.
I don't know of one. Did anybody think of it?
there's also an additional piece of land that's right behind the amphitheater. So that whole field then, the whole field is, I want to say almost a little over 20 acres. So we're buying 14.2 of the trust, from the trust, and the trust owns the other piece also. But that was, because that butts up to the village and closer to 39, it's like double the price. And then the trust owns a piece of land right in front of our complex.
Yeah.
That it's a commercial. So we're waiting for a restaurant or something to, you know, all of a sudden go in right in front of our building. But, yeah, so in years to come, it'd be great if the community, I mean, if we buy that other piece of land and we can do additional park, like basketball courts or whatever. Not in my lifetime, but, everybody says we need a
No, I
community.
think you're right, George. The township,
It's a nice
when they
park.
did the master plan for the municipal complex, they looked at all of this. And they knew they were gonna build it in stages, and it's really worked out pretty well. And we give credit also to the Hershey Trust for working with the township in a public-private partnership to make this happen. Because we enhanced their developments as well, their ability for them to do their development, and they've enhanced the opportunity for the township to do theirs. And I think the other unique thing is the township really isn't just here looking for gaming funds because they want a grant. They've planned what they want to do, and they try to put it all together so that in the end, your gaming grants make sense for all the public service for the township. Not just some spot grants, but the grants that we've asked for all come together into one piece of public work, public service for the township, which I think was the initial thought behind the gaming grants. So, and do you have another question?
No, I was just looking at the budget, but I resolved that question from your presentation. So once the township closes on the property in the spring, are you guys ready to submit submit financing or do the bond or whatever you're gonna do? Are you prepared to move at that point, or will it take?
Yeah, the USDA loan for that has been approved.
And I'm sorry, I'm talking about the land acquisition,
land
not the
acquisition?
pumper.
Yeah, we are very close in closing on that
On the
property.
land acquisition,
Yeah.
I meant the pumper tanker.
No, I'm
We
talking about the
tried
land
to,
acquisition.
we tried to squeeze it all in December and, you know, they had some retirement and, you know, with holidays. But yeah, we're very close to closing on that land.
And then once you close, are you prepared for the financing? Is the financing ready to go, ready to be applied for at that point, or is there still gonna be?
We're closing on the financing loan for 500.
Oh, I'm
plus-
talking about the closing of the property.
She's
Oh,
talking
closing.
about the Hershey Trust
Yeah, the
property.
land acquisition for the property will be closed in February, March.
Okay, and then the financing for the municipal complex, the public works complex.
They're gonna look at both USDA and local financing.
Okay, and that's what I'm asking about, is the timeline for that piece.
So right now, we have the funds available from grants to pay for that, for some of the design and the beginning of construction.
Okay,
Yeah, right now, we've worked almost a year now with USDA loan for our sewer infrastructure, and if anybody's ever applied for USDA loan, it is not, you sit down and, you know, give them paperwork. It is a drawn out process. So we're trying to get that finalized because our sewer infrastructure, 8-9 million is going to, I mean, we're close to, very close, once this loan is closed, to going out to bid, and that project's gonna start this year.
okay,
So we've got we've got all these projects that we've been planning for. They're all gonna be, we got Hayshed Road, that they're opening a new road, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, the Hayshed Road, the public works, the sewer infrastructure, the new sewer force main, the new pump station, it's all gonna happen like at the same time.
But once the design will be completed here in August, September for the public works facility, so they'll know the cost. They'll have the land acquisition in place, then they'll do either USDA financing or they'll bond it
okay,
with general obligation bonds.
okay. Thank you. And then, do you know, has the pumper been in service since it's been under contract?
So right now, no, it's not. They received Peckway, I call them Peckway Valley, who I've been working with through this. They received their new vehicle December 19th. They wanted us to like take it and pay for it so that they didn't have to secure other funds. Unfortunately, the way the USDA loan for that has played out, we couldn't just get it. Now, We are looking at February 6th for the final closing for the USDA loan, hopefully giving them a check and delivery February 10th. Those dates, as you know, could change, but that's what we're believing. So no, right now it's waiting to be delivered. We did give them $200,000 and they wanted to deliver it. And we wouldn't accept it until we have the rest of the money. We don't want to accept something that we can't pay for the whole thing.
And
So
they
that's,
can't really accept it and get the USDA loan because they can't get reimbursed for something they already bought.
Okay.
So hopefully we didn't take too much of your time. We really appreciate,
No, we're good.
we appreciate your attention. There's a lot there, a lot of slides. We enjoy coming here. You guys are great to work with. And on behalf of the county, I've worked the township for over 12 years now, helping them with various projects and grants. And you guys have always been great to work with. And you've always followed through on everything that we've talked about, and we appreciate it.
although I miss Debbie Brown.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Mrs. Doug Brown.
Let's go.
I know, but I do miss him.
Yeah.
He's good though. But he used to sit right there.
Yeah.
A couple times I looked up and I'm like,
See how the doc.
I will.
All right. When's that shit starting?
George,
Hey,
what do you
Shed
want?
Road, we're in the final RFPs. We're down to 3 engineer firms. So once we select them, a lot of the engineering has been done.
Anything come from the state for that?
3 million.
I was gonna, because they want it, right? So, because of the intersection on Red Top,
Yeah,
from what I heard.
so 3 million, but it's a $6 million project.
Yeah, we got the largest grant in Commonwealth that was issued, Philadelphia got 3 million, but outside of Philadelphia, the township got the largest multimodal grant for the Hayshed Road project. So that's gonna be a great project. We're just opening up. I'm familiar with that area. Red Top Road intersection.
That's a horrible place.
It's terrible. You know, there's been a couple of deaths there and I've been walking that corridor with the engineering firms and there's a lot of opportunity there. I mean, the Lower Dauphin School District owns land on the old Hayshed Road right away, so they're landlocked.
Right by Castle.
So once Hayshed
That's where they want
Road,
to put the new elementary. They're talking about.
Well, they're talking because they didn't realize they had it until we approached them.
Ah, jeez.
You know, because I think that was acquired years ago.
yeah.
So now with, you know, the Castle Farms were for sale and Willow Creek back there.
Yeah.
So it's a good, nice project. So you can see the township has a lot going on. We really appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
All right, I guess we'll see you next year.
George, thanks a lot, buddy.
Or courtside.
Yeah, she's gonna come out at the Giant.
Thank you.
Thank you, good to see you again.
Oh, my pleasure.
Where's the Giant?
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you. Absolutely.
Glad you bet. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
So Hayshed's gonna come back around to, Red Top.
If you guys need any information on Hayshed Road, I can send it to you.
Yes, really is. See, it's used to be a dirt road. I think it is. The original came out, I thought it was, I didn't hear something.
Yeah.
It was a dirt road for years. I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
You can. But, yeah. It was a dirt road that they basically closed on.
I was practicing the other day.
What that end up doing, just gives access so people can get back this way without having to come on the 30 million.
Yeah, 39 Red Dot.
Yeah.
Because of the
Oh,
hill.
right here.
Yeah.
So it gets rid of this. Right.
Yeah, see, there's a hill
Yeah.
right there and it keeps
Oh, yeah.
red like.
Yeah, I know where you mean, they help out that.
And then you got the church
Yeah.
down around the bend at the top.
Right, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's fine.
But Lynn definitely picked up on it.
I don't know exactly where it's at.
It's like, I'm sorry, let's just start over.
Hello, the remote to control your PowerPoint is right there in front of you.
So good evening, thanks for being punctual. +1. No. So, new this year, we're live streaming, so please speak up, identify yourselves, and clearly state who you're with and the project that you are requesting funding for as well. You have drawn a 30-minute time slot. I don't think you guys are surprised by any of this information. I think it looks pretty good. Been through it before, so I will set a timer for 25 minutes. So if we know that we hear the sound of do or whatever it does, we know we need to wrap things up so we can keep going and on schedule with other applicants. So whenever you're ready, please identify yourselves and your affiliation with what you have going on.
Sure. Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Oster. I'm the Township Manager for West Hanover Township. With me this afternoon is Gloria Zimmerman. She's the Chair of the Supervisors of the Board of Supervisors. And she's begun her second year in that position. But she has been on the board a long time contributor, influencer in West Hanover Township. And then we have Eileen LaForce, who is the Executive Secretary for West Hanover Township. Thank you for having us here today, and we are once again in front of you looking for assistance with debt. In 2024, the Board of Supervisors accepted bids for the construction of a new municipal complex. Due to the inflationary costs, we had anticipated this project was going to be about $13 million, but when the project came in, it came in about $15 million, a little shy of $15 million. When we were doing the planning of this project, we did not anticipate steel going up 400% in inflationary. So we started looking at this in actually 2021. And we finally, we slow walked this enough for the reasons that we didn't want people showing up at the last minute saying we didn't hear about this. So we really advertised this hard with our residents through our website, through our Facebook page, through our newsletter. And any place we went, we would take boards with us and put up so that people knew that this was going to be happening. In 2024, in April 2024, after the Board of Supervisors accepted the bids and actually began the project, we went out on the market to sell for $7.5 million of bonds for the construction of the new municipal complex. We have been successful, working with our local elected officials, local state representatives and senator to being able to secure about $2.5 million in Iraqi grants to help offset the cost of the municipal complex. And in June of 2024, construction began. We started clearing land, and the project is now well underway. We are about our 13th or 14th job meeting right now, so we're doing them bi-weekly. And then we expect occupancy sometime in the September timeframe. Just a little background of West Hanover Township. We are obviously a second-class township. We're governed by a 5-member board of supervisors who are elected at large in the township. West Hanover Township serves approximately 11,000 residents, and it is home to Central Dauphin High School and West Hanover Township Elementary School. This past budget, we raised the fire tax about 77%. One of the reasons we did that is because we are in the process of, we just signed a contract to purchase a new fire engine, which that cost is about $1.4 million and will not be delivered until 2028. There is a 4-year backlog in fire apparatus right now. So the reason we are not asking for the cost of the fire truck or helping with the cost of fire truck, because obviously the grant requires that we expend money before we get reimbursed the money. We would not be spending any money until 2028. But this increase in the fire tax, if you ladder it out, will provide us the $1.4 million that we need for the new fire apparatus and Unfortunately, we have a second engine that'll be ordered almost immediately right after that because the two engines that we are replacing are basically twins. And I would recommend not doing that as a municipality, buying two engines at the same time. But the reason for the raise of fire tax was to make sure that we offset that cost and we're able to capture not having to go into debt with that $1.4 million.
Is it fair to say that a 77% increase is really not that much out of each?
It's not that much
Yeah,
because it comes to about $54 a year per resident.
Okay.
Or per property.
Per property.
So if you average that out. We are a contiguous municipality to East Hanover Township, and our fire company does respond to almost pretty much every call in the East Hanover Township, especially as it relates to the casino. We do respond from the 3 fire stations that reside in West Hanover Township. One of the reasons for the building, the building we are currently in is a 1950s, 1960s era. It is a building that was initially constructed before Interstate 81. It was used as a weigh station by PennDOT or to weigh the vehicles, stuff like that. So if you ever come to our building, you can see it. It kind of resembles a weigh station that is out on the interstates now. So
Guess it's cold this week, huh?
pardon me?
I guess it's cold this week.
Yes, it is cold, and there are days, I know Eileen can attest that this week that the air conditioning was on, and it should not have been on. So, but it is, we went through a feasibility study and a evaluation process of all the properties that we have in the township and all the locations, and settled that this was not the highest and best use of our of this piece of property. It is in light industrial, and to fix this property, it is, while you can imagine a 1950s construction, I would say to you, if there was a nuclear bomb going off in the Harrisburg area, you wouldn't be in that building, okay? Because it is not going to move. And just as testament, there's a cell tower 200 yards behind our building, and my phone does not ring in the building sometimes. So just to say, it is well constructed, and as you can imagine, reconstructing that or rehabilitating that building would be costly, getting into some of those walls and stuff like that. And plus, the property being light industrial, we looked at that as not being the highest, best use of being off the tax rolls. So that being said, we are in the process of actively selling the building right now. And hopefully by February or March of this year, as you know, you have to sell a building as a government, you have to sell it to the highest bid. So you have to set up a bid process, go through that bid process, and then have everybody submit those bids, and then the supervisors will select the highest bid, and so that will be the winning bid. So it's more of like a reverse auction type thing. So along with the administration building, we are also redoing our public works facility. That'll be all under one complex now. Another reason we selected the site we had is because we can put all municipal services at one address. Now there's 4 different addresses. You have your sewer authority at one location, you have the administration building at another location, you have your public works at another location, and you have your recreation at another location. So this will put all municipal services under one roof at the township. And as we do that, we will see efficiencies being created as it relates to personnel and other things that, as you look at personnel, as you look at copier contracts and those types of things that, where we have 2 or 3 copier contracts, now we only need 1 because we only need 1 copier in the municipal building. So we also, one of the things that our building functions as now is a polling place, and it is woefully not up to ADA standards. So, the bathrooms, trying to get into the building and stuff like that, our folks with disabilities do have some difficulty getting in and out of the building. Opening heavy doors, you don't have automatic doors and that kind of stuff. This new complex will be able to be upgraded to all the ADA standards, obviously, but could function as also 2 polling places, thus saving money for the town or for the county, not having to expend a lot of money moving equipment around and staffing polling places. This could actually serve as 2 polling places because of how the building is configured. It will have 2 community rooms that are available to the residents at any time that they wish. We'll be able to open the building for them remotely, let them do their things, a homeowner association or something like that, Boy Scouts, whatever it is, and then be able to lock the building after they leave. And the new municipal complex will also serve us as our emergency operations center as well. So, sorry I didn't push that forward, but West Hanover Township is obviously, the supervisor is extremely grateful for the past awards that we've received from the gaming grant board. We've always looked at debt reductions, and one of the things we were looking at with the debt reductions was being able to get ourselves debt-free prior to taking on new debt for this new municipality. So essentially what we're looking at is in our budget, we are basically from 2021 to right now, we've probably remained, and now that we took on new debt, a $7.5 million debt, we are basically debt service level, meaning we're not spending any more money on debt service in 2024, 2025 that we spent on, with this bond issue that we would have spent if we maintained the debt without the help of you guys helping us to be able to reduce that debt or eliminate that debt. So these are the things that we've done, and likely probably will continue to do so as we move forward, just until we start looking more at fire apparatus and that kind of stuff. But the new fire company radios are working extremely well for the firefighters, for our volunteers, and for our public works employees as well. But we really appreciated that one because that was a heavy lift. That was about a $426,000 lift for us.
So those 5 items you say that debt has been retired?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I know that exit 77 was a big one.
Yes.
It
Yep.
was huge.
Yep. So. This year, what we're looking for is on November 15th, we paid our first official interest and principal in about $214,000. We took out the bond in April, and in November was our first payment. And we're also looking for the interest payment that is due in May 15th, 2025, in the amount of $155,228.13, which those two combined equals $369,610.68. It's this is one of the big reasons that it did really cost us more to build this building. So we're using more of our cash on hand to help fund this building, and we are also going to have to carry the $2.5 million of the RACB grant until September, October timeframe for the reimbursement. So, we're really grateful to get the grant, but we still have to spend $5 million to get $2.5 million back. So this will help us in that process. So, just a little look. This is the new administration building.
That's off Jonestown Road.
Pardon?
Yeah.
So this is a new administration building. This is the new meeting room right here. This is the foyer and the other meeting room. These two built rooms right here, I look at as possibly being, definitely this one being a polling place whenever the elections are happening, but we also look at this, we want to do 2 polling places. That would be another polling place we could put in there. Right now, our building is very unsecure. You can be sitting in your office and next thing you know, there's somebody standing at your door wanting to talk to you. And, in today's environment, that can become a little unsettling, to some of our employees. And it is unsettling to me when that happens. You turn around, there's somebody standing in your office at your shoulder, so.
Question, so is the Jonestown Road to the bottom?
Pardon me?
Where's Jonestown Road?
Yes, to the
To the bottom.
Yes.
I was thinking so, because I just now saw the arrow.
Yeah.
So.
This is an older version, a little bit older version, while the interiors remain pretty much standard. To cut costs, we actually took this garage and spun it into the building here, just to save a little bit of money on cost. So that this wing does not necessarily exist. The garage still exists, but one of the things, it was kind of a little bit of an emotional story, but, you know, we do the senior band out of our complex. And the senior band sits in a unheated building behind our municipal building right now, our magnet building now. And when we told Claire that we were going to be building heated garages for their heated band, she almost cried. She said, this is a beautiful thing. You know, she says, you've never thought of us before like this. And so that was something that, you know, that's just a personal story that she said to us. The recreation department will remain this area, planning and zoning in this area, executive offices here, and codes enforcement and public works and wastewater and engineering in this area here. This is an executive executive room, executive meeting room. Essentially what happens now in our building, if we need to have an executive session and there's residents sitting there during the meeting, we have to shoo them outside because there's no other place to have it. So, I mean, one night it was windy, blowing, raining. I was like, sorry guys, you gotta step outside while we have an executive session, you know. And then just general bathrooms and that kind of stuff. And this is our lobby foyer area and things like that. So, really excited about getting this project underway, and we're excited about being able to move in the very near future. And this is the Public Works facility. This will reside behind our building to the south. And if you look at this area over here, this is where our wastewater plant is. And then this will be the entrance into the facility. You'll have heated garage bays. Heated garage bays over here, our maintenance facility with a crane and that kind of, those types of things here, wet welding facilities, those things to help lift beds off truck, lift salt thing. Right now, our building, our Public Works building probably was first built in the 1940s, was the first meeting room of the township, right?
Right.
And it's been added on to since that time frame. So there's so none of the floors match, none of the doors match. And while we will maintain that property, it'll be a place where we can store stuff. We still have a very big salt shed on there that we are going to keep and stuff like that. So, and then over here's the new offices for the team, for the Public Works crew. This will also incorporate male and female bathrooms and locker rooms, so that if we do eventually hire a female Public Works employee, that they will have their own changing room and being places they could shower. So this is like a rendering what the front entrance will look like to the municipal building.
Where's your wash bay?
The wash bay is right, it'd be in this area right here.
Okay.
I believe that's. Yeah, it'll be in this area right here. I know it doesn't show it on this rendering. This is an older rendering, but it will be in this vicinity right here. So it'll just be one bay of the heated garage bay. So this is what it looks like, the front door of our new municipal complex when it's completed.
Will the municipal building be LEED certified or have any energy efficiencies?
We looked at that. While it will be a lot more energy efficient than the building we were in, it will not be LEED certified.
Okay.
And this is what the Public Works facility will look like as well. So. And then.
Long overdue, that's all I can say.
Second.
Long overdue.
Yes, long overdue, yes.
But I appreciate your patience. I know that, you got saddled early with a lot of debt with other things, so that's very responsible for your citizens and that sort of thing.
I think Lori could probably touch on, how long they've been talking about this on the board.
Probably about 30 years. Since Michael Wolfgang was there, do you remember Martha?
I do.
A blast from the past.
So yeah, they bought this property a long time ago with this intention of building a new municipal complex. And, I think one of the, everybody looks at costs and what they want, what they need, and like that. I think starting it with the feasibility study, showing what we have, what we can use, the different areas that we can work with. I think it really opened up the supervisor's eyes and said, okay, this is what we need. Now we know what we need. Let's go do it. And I think, with their vision, we were able to really develop a nice, flow in our building, a nice, public works complex and being able to create a safer environment for our employees as well, so.
I don't
tried
think-
to, I tried to talk him into putting a gym in one of the rooms, but it didn't fly. So.
I didn't see a kitchen either.
No.
You know.
Well, that got placed on the hot tub, so.
Any questions? Beth?
No, it was a very good presentation.
Yeah, it was really nice. All good. Well, thank you very much.
You bet.
And,
Thank you, guys, and thank you all for your doing, and thank you for your time. I know I'll be watching Penn State, and you guys will still be scared. You didn't know that when you signed up for this, I get that.
I would like to say thank you for all your time and your effort that you do here. I'm sure it's very teasing on you. I think everything that you have helped us to do has had a great impact on our township. I mean, everything was for the good of the residents. And I must say, Mike does a phenomenal job as manager and managing our money. And Eileen is our gal Friday, so if you have any questions, ask her, don't ask me.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
that's
very
all
much.
the case.
That's nice of you. We really just make recommendations to the commissioners, so it's really the commissioners that need to be thanking in the grand scheme of things.
But thank you very much.
But we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Enjoy the game.
Go home and make popcorn. Good night.
Good night.
Good night now.
Good night.
Stay warm, drive careful.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, these townships were
Is
a
this-
pleasure
this-
to
this
me.
is supposedly my fault.
Yes. Brilliant.